You know that feeling when your phone rings and your entire body tenses up? Your heart does this weird little jump, and before you even look at the screen, you're already mentally preparing your excuse for why you can't pick up. Meanwhile, you've got 17 unread text messages sitting in your notifications, and somehow, those feel completely manageable. In fact, you might even enjoy responding to them. If this sounds like you, you're not alone, and there's actually something fascinating happening in your brain that explains why some of us would rather type 1,000 words than speak 10. Let me paint you a picture. It's Sunday afternoon, you're cozy on your couch, and a friend calls to catch up. You stare at the phone like it's a live grenade. You love this person, you genuinely want to talk to them, but the idea of an unstructured conversation right now feels like being asked to run a marathon in flip-flops. So you let it ring. 10 minutes later, you send them a perfectly crafted text message asking how they've been, complete with emojis and thoughtful follow-up questions. What just happened there? Why does the same interaction feel unbearable in one format and completely fine in another? The answer lies in something psychologists call cognitive load, and it's about way more than just being shy or antisocial. When you're on a phone call, your brain is doing this incredibly complex dance. You're processing tone of voice, managing the timing of responses, interpreting pauses, worrying about dead air, and simultaneously trying to formulate coherent thoughts in real time. There's no backspace button in conversation. There's no moment to gather yourself. You're expected to be present, engaged, and articulate all at once, and for some people, that's genuinely exhausting. Texting, on the other hand, gives you something precious that talking doesn't: control. Think about it. When you text, you're the director of your own movie. You can edit, revise, and carefully construct exactly what you want to say before you send it. You can take 5 minutes to respond or 5 hours, and there's no awkward silence to fill. You can be vulnerable without having to manage your facial expressions or worry about your voice cracking. Research from the Pew Research Center shows that younger generations, particularly millennials and Gen Z, overwhelmingly prefer text-based communication, and it's not because they're worse at socializing. It's because they've grown up in a world where asynchronous communication isn't just possible, it's the norm. They've learned that you can maintain deep, meaningful connections without needing to synchronize your schedules or your energy levels. But here's where it gets really interesting. Preferring texting over talking isn't actually about avoiding people. It's about managing your internal resources. Psychologist Susan Cain, who wrote extensively about introversion, explains that introverts aren't necessarily afraid of social interaction, they just process stimulation differently. A phone call is like being thrown into a swimming pool, you have to adapt immediately. A text conversation is like wading in slowly, adjusting to the temperature at your own pace. And even if you're not an introvert, there's something universal about wanting to communicate on your own terms. There's also this beautiful thing that happens with texting that doesn't always happen in conversation: you get to be more authentic. I know that sounds backwards because we always hear about how face-to-face communication is more genuine, but hear me out. When you're not worried about how you sound or how long you're pausing or whether you're making enough eye contact, you can actually focus on what you're saying. Some people express their deepest thoughts more clearly in writing because the pressure of performance is removed. They're not performing the conversation, they're having it. Studies on computer-mediated communication have found that people often disclose more personal information and feel more comfortable being vulnerable in text than they do in person. The screen creates a kind of safe distance that paradoxically allows for closer connection. Now, let's talk about something called rejection sensitivity. Your brain has this ancient alarm system designed to protect you from social threats, and for some people, that alarm is incredibly sensitive. The thought of calling someone, especially someone you don't know well or someone you need something from, can trigger genuine anxiety because your brain is catastrophizing about all the ways it could go wrong. What if they sound annoyed? What if you stumble over your words? What if there's an awkward silence and they think you're boring? Texting diffuses all of that because the stakes feel lower. You can craft your message carefully, and if someone responds negatively, you have time to process it without them watching your reaction. It's not avoidance, it's self-preservation. And here's something we don't talk about enough: energy. Different people have different social energy budgets, and phone calls are expensive. They require your full attention, your vocal energy, your emotional bandwidth. You can't really multitask during a call without being rude. But texts? You can respond while cooking dinner, while taking a walk, while decompressing after a long day. You can give someone your thoughtfulness without giving them your immediacy, and that's not a character flaw, that's just how you're wired. The psychologist Sherry Tickle points out that we're moving toward a culture of connection without conversation, and while she sees that as a loss, maybe it's also an adaptation. Maybe we're learning to stay connected in ways that feel more sustainable. There's also the neuroscience piece. When you're texting, you're engaging different parts of your brain than when you're talking. Written communication activates areas associated with reading, language processing, and visual recognition, while spoken communication involves auditory processing, real-time language production, and social cognition networks. For some people, the written pathway just feels more natural, more comfortable. It's like being left-handed in a right-handed world and finally finding a pair of scissors that works for you. Your brain doesn't have to work as hard to translate thoughts into communication because the medium matches your processing style. But let's be honest about something. Preferring texting can sometimes become a crutch. If you're using it exclusively to avoid uncomfortable conversations or difficult emotions, that's worth examining. There are moments in life that really do require voice or presence, moments where tone and timing matter, where human connection needs to be immediate and raw. The key is knowing the difference between honoring your communication style and hiding behind it. It's okay to prefer texting. It's okay to find phone calls draining. But it's also worth asking yourself, am I choosing this because it genuinely works better for me, or am I choosing it because I'm afraid? Here's the beautiful paradox though. People who prefer texting are often incredibly thoughtful communicators. They take time with their words. They consider their impact. They show up consistently in ways that work for them, and that consistency builds trust and connection over time. You don't need to be the person who calls everyone all the time to be a good friend, a good partner, a good human. You just need to show up in the ways you can, authentically and intentionally. So if you're someone who feels a little guilty about dodging calls and living in your inbox, maybe it's time to reframe that. You're not broken. You're not antisocial. You're not failing at modern life. You're just someone who communicates differently, and in a world that's increasingly giving us more options for how to connect, that's perfectly okay. Your brain is doing exactly what it's designed to do, seeking the path that feels safest and most authentic for you. And there's real wisdom in honoring that, even when the phone keeps ringing and you keep letting it go to voicemail. The next time someone gives you grief about not picking up, maybe just send them this: I care about you, and I express that best in writing. Because that's the truth, isn't it? Connection doesn't have a prescribed format. It just has to be real.